Welcome to NFL Nexus, your spot for some of the deepest dives in football analysis. So, let's talk about the Houston Texans. They have a championship caliber defense, right? And they've got a certified franchise quarterback. So, why in the world did their Super Bowl hopes just fizzle out in a turnover frenzy during the playoffs? Well, today we are going to deconstruct the incredibly detailed blueprint the Texans front office has put together for 2026. This is a plan designed to fix that one fatal flaw. We're going to break down every single key move, offense, defense, even special teams, to see if this is really the path to a championship. If you're a Texans fan, or you just love seeing how great teams are built, you're going to want to stick around. And hey, make sure you subscribe, like the video, and definitely let us know what you think in the comments.
You know, every great plan has to start with a problem. And for the 2025 Houston Texans, that problem was front and center in the AFC divisional round. I mean, their defense was playing lights out, just an absolutely stellar performance. They did their part, no question. But, as this quote from A to Z Sports kind of painfully puts it, the offense, led by their star QB, CJ Stroud, didn't hold up its end of the bargain. A complete turnover frenzy just ended their season right there. And that painful exit became the catalyst for everything that came next. It forced the front office to ask a really tough question. How do we get more explosive, more firepower for a young quarterback without taking apart the elite defense that is the heart and soul of this team? All right, so here's how we're going to break down their master plan. We'll start with that crossroads moment they hit right after the loss. Then we'll get into the brand new weapon they got for CJ Stroud. From there, we'll look at the absolute heartbeat of their defense, then an overlooked departure that could have a surprisingly big impact. And finally, we're going to tie it all together and ask the big question. Is this really a Super Bowl blueprint?
Yeah, that divisional round loss, it wasn't just a loss on the scoreboard, it was more like a diagnosis. CJ Stroud's turnover frenzy was a huge red flag that the offense needed more juice, more firepower to hang tough when the pressure is at its absolute highest. So, right then and there, priority number one for the offseason became crystal clear. Get Stroud more help. But, and this is the really tricky part, they had to do it while keeping their dominant, top-tier defense completely intact. It's a super delicate balancing act, and it set the stage for what turned out to be a very, very strategic offseason. And man, they did not waste a single second. To give Stroud that support, they traded for a tough, reliable running back in David Montgomery, a guy who's just known for his vision and his knack for breaking tackles. That's a clear upgrade in the backfield. Then they doubled down on protecting their guy, signing not just tackle Braden Smith, but also Pro Bowl guard Wyatt Teller. The message here couldn't be clearer. We are building a fortress around our quarterback. And then on the other side of the ball, to keep that defense strong, they made what some sources called a luxury signing in safety Reed Blankenship, adding a Super Bowl winner to an already loaded secondary. And get this, they did all of that before the draft even started, which is where they'd make their biggest offensive splash of all. Okay, let's dive into the move that is a direct response to that playoff collapse. With their first pick in this mock draft, the Texans go and grab Washington wide receiver Denzel Boston. The logic here is it's perfectly clear. You give your franchise quarterback another dynamic weapon. As A to Z Sports pointed out, this adds another vertical element to the offense. We're talking about a serious deep threat designed to keep defenses honest and hopefully prevent those kinds of playoff meltdowns in the future. Okay, now what's so fascinating here is the story this data tells. Just look at that progression. In 2022 and 2023, Boston he was barely even a factor. 2 catches, then 5. And then bam, in 2024, something just clicked. He completely explodes for over 800 yards and 9 touchdowns. That's not just an improvement, that's a total transformation into a legit number 1 target. And critically, he proved it wasn't a one-year fluke by following it up with an even better season in 2025. This isn't just projecting what he could be, this is a solid 2-year track record of elite production and just a nose for the end zone. And this is where the strategic genius really shines through. Boston is a big-bodied receiver who just excels at winning those 50-50 jump balls down the field. So you pair him on the outside with Nico Collins, who's got the versatility to play either the primary X or the secondary Z receiver role, and all of a sudden you have these 2 huge physical mismatches. This creates a brilliant ripple effect across the whole offense. With defenses forced to respect those 2 guys on the perimeter, it allows Tank Dell, when he's healthy, to return to his rightful place in the slot, where his quickness can create absolute nightmares for defenses. You see, this isn't just about adding a player. It's about completely redesigning the entire passing attack to be more dangerous. So, while the Texans were busy loading up the offense with all this new firepower, they had to stick to the second part of their plan, right? Which was keeping that defense absolutely elite. But then, a pretty surprising rumor started to bubble up that threatened the very core of that unit. It was all focused on their undisputed leader, linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair, and the trade offers the team was reportedly listening to. So you're probably asking, why would Al-Shaair's name even pop up in trade talks in the first place? Well, it all boils down to his contract. He's heading into the final year of his deal, and in the NFL, that's like putting up a giant bat signal for other general managers. Teams all around the league, they see a potentially available, high-impact player, and they start blowing up the phones, hoping they can pry him away before he gets a chance to sign an extension. It's that classic front office dilemma. Do you cash in on a valuable asset now, or do you commit to him for the long haul? And listen, these were not just some vague, flimsy rumors. According to Cowboys insider Nick Harris, there was specific, real interest coming from their in-state rival, the Dallas Cowboys. Harris reported that after missing out on another target, the Cowboys' discussions specifically turned to Al-Shaair. Now, that adds a serious layer of credibility to all the buzz. Dallas was actively in the market for a linebacker upgrade, and they identified the leader of Houston's defense as a guy who could be the solution. But despite all that interest, a trade seems incredibly unlikely. Let's really break down why. First off, he's the defense's general in the middle of the field. He's the guy making the calls, getting everyone lined up. Second, he's a team captain. But honestly, beyond the titles, he's considered the heartbeat of that entire unit, their emotional engine. And maybe the most important piece of the puzzle, he's a personal favorite of head coach D'Amico Ryans, who coached him back in San Francisco. That kind of bond is just invaluable. For all of those reasons, sources are indicating that a contract extension is far more likely than any trade. The Texans see him as a foundational piece, not some bargaining chip. And his value isn't just about some intangible leadership stuff. It is backed up by pure elite production. In 16 games during the 2025 season, he racked up 103 combined tackles. This was the third time in his career he broke the 100 tackle mark, which just shows you how remarkably consistent he is. And beyond that, he also logged 9 passes defended and 2 interceptions, proving he's a versatile 3-down linebacker who makes an impact on every single facet of the game. Okay, now for a move that probably flew completely under the radar for most fans, but it could have a surprisingly big impact. While all eyes were on the big-name players on offense and the leaders on defense, a key departure on special teams could fundamentally change how the Texans control the flow of a game. Yep, we are talking about the punter position. So before we get into the actual players, let's just quickly lock in on a concept that's absolutely essential to understanding this move: field position. Simply put, it's where a team starts its drive. Winning the field position battle, it's like a hidden game within the game. Forcing your opponent to consistently start way back deep in their own territory is a massive advantage for your defense. And your primary weapon in that battle? A great punter. The punter who left, Tommy Townsend, who, by the way, signed with the rival Titans, was an incredibly busy man last season. He punted 72 times. That's one of the highest marks in the entire league. And why? Well, the source connects it directly to the team's offensive woes. While the offense was sputtering and stalling, Townsend was an absolute workhorse, punting for over 3,400 yards. His ability to just flip the field, combined with that elite defense, was honestly instrumental in keeping Houston in games they probably would have otherwise lost. And this is where the concern really starts to creep in. Townsend was consistently solid, ranking 14th in the league for punts inside the 20-yard line. That's a really key metric. His replacement, Kai Kruger, is coming off a rookie year where he was reportedly below league average in all major punting metrics. So on paper, this is a significant downgrade. The Texans are basically gambling that this drop-off won't come back to bite them in that hidden but crucial battle for field position. So why on earth would they make this gamble? Well, it was a cold, calculated financial decision. The Texans chose not to pay Townsend what he was worth. Instead, they reallocated those funds to make their kicker, Kaimi Fairbairn, the highest-paid kicker in the entire NFL. They made a trade-off. They prioritized securing an elite, clutch kicker for those game-winning moments at the cost of having a reliable punter, opting for a cheaper, unproven guy. It's a bet on which specialist you think provides more game-changing value. Okay, so after looking at the draft strategy, the absolute commitment to their defense, and the calculated risks they're taking on special teams, what does the grand strategy really look like? When you put all of these pieces together, do they actually form a coherent blueprint for a team that's trying to become a true Super Bowl champion? The blueprint, while it appears to be a really clear 3-phase plan. Step 1. Add offensive firepower. You directly fix the reason you lost in the playoffs by giving your quarterback a big-bodied weapon to throw to. Step 2. Retain defensive leaders. Solidify your team's identity by just refusing to trade the captain and the heartbeat of your best unit. And step 3. Navigate special teams. Make a calculated, budget-driven decision to prioritize an elite kicker over a reliable punter. It's a really systematic approach, right? Addressing weaknesses while doubling down on your biggest strengths.
And this brings us to the final crucial question. The Texans have clearly been meticulous, no doubt about it. They've addressed every phase of the game with a specific, interlocking strategy. But is this detailed plan the key that will finally unlock their championship potential? Or, with the gamble they're taking on special teams, is it maybe a sign of a front office overthinking it? I would love to know what you think. Drop your take in the comments below.
And hey, before you head down to the comments, you can help support the channel and everything we do here at NFL Nexus. We've created some awesome football-themed coloring books. They're perfect for kids, grandkids, and honestly, for adults too. If you're a fan, you are going to love them. You can check them out by using the link in the description or just by scanning the QR code on your screen right now. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.